My name is Serena, and a few years ago during the pandemic, I was 17 in high school, about to graduate, and I found out that I was pregnant. I ended up reaching out to Jane's Due Process, and they helped me get an abortion without parental consent due to my parents being, immigrants and very religious, and it wasn't something that I was comfortable sharing with them in order for them to give me permission to get an abortion. At around that time, judicial bypass was still a thing, right? And minors couldn't get abortion access without basically consent from a parent. So that was the situation that I was in, and Jane's Due Process helped me get a judicial bypass, which basically consisted of me going to court and in front of a judge, and basically trying to convince them to give me permission to get an abortion. So it was a very, very crazy process that, of course, no one should have to go through. But Jane's Due Process helped me out through that, and now I am a youth advocacy fellow with Jane's Due Process, and we're advocating for other youths in Texas and actively telling our abortion stories and just trying to be more in community with other youth here. We had to pause services after the Dobbs decision, so we could not help anyone for months, almost a year. So that really did affect us and the work that Jane's Due Process does for quite a while. So a lot of folks could not get the care that they needed. In more conservative parts of town that are rural, it is a bit harder to access care. I know some folks that had to travel, all the way to San Antonio or Austin in order to get abortion access before the Dobbs decision. So it was definitely very strenuous, to say the least, in order to access care around those parts of town. But now, I can only imagine what that looks like, since there's no clinic to travel to anywhere in Texas. So there are many clinics in places where you can access an abortion out of state, but there are also protesters and folks who are basically trying to encourage people to not go through with their abortions at those clinics, right, outside of those clinics. So that's definitely a challenge that a lot of folks face. I know when I went to go get my abortion, when I was 17, I had to be faced with someone outside of the clinic with a little pamphlet of growth of a fetal development. It was ridiculous. And yet just know that you are supported, even if maybe folks close to you or who are in your vicinity are not supportive of you and your decisions. Please know that there's people, I support you. There's people outside of your circle or where you're at that do support you and want for you to know that, right? And want to let you know that you should be able to access whatever care you need to your life, not your parents, not the government's. So you do what decision is best for you. Don't give up. Hold your government, your leadership accountable, right? As that is what's going to get results.